of people across the world right now who are all grappling with the exact same sense of uncertainty. We're all slowly creeping outside our houses, but we have no actual idea of what lies ahead. It's kind of like we're playing a game of snakes and ladders, but the stakes are just absurdly high. Except that in the last few months, it also feels like this not knowing what lay ahead kind of became our new normal. Take a look at this chart. It tracks the usage of the word unprecedented, which is just something that's never been seen before across the entire world through the last few months. What you see is that towards the end of March, the usage of that word absolutely skyrocketed. But then if you open that chart out even a little further, in April, the usage of that word went right back down again. Maybe as people got used to this idea of not knowing what came ahead. So as you rush out to rub grass and breathe in Mother Nature for the first time in months, I wanted to draw your attention to something we're going to be leaving behind without even realizing. This was humanity's first global digital moment. Because as essential workers were out there on the front lines, millions of us were sitting right here at home, scrolling, documenting, and as you're well aware, forwarding shitty memes. The last time humanity went through anything of this scale was in 2009 with H1N1 or the swine flu. That had about 1 million confirmed cases, but according to some sources, about 1 billion unconfirmed cases. You would have thought in the last decade they would have cleared that part up. But in 2009, the internet was a vastly different place. It was populated with email-centric platforms like AOL, Yahoo, and MSN. We thought we'd explain the next part with the use of tomatoes, primarily because we just have a lot of time on our hands right now. So take a look. So this represents the almost 7 billion people on this planet in 2009. Only 25% of them were using the internet, so that's roughly 1.7 billion people. Today, there are almost 8 billion people on this planet. A cool 53% of them, so more than half of them, are using the internet. And that's not even getting into the internet surge this pandemic has seen. So as you were sitting at home pretending to do work but actually scrolling through Instagram, for the first time we were all consciously sharing this sentiment with people from across the world. It's never happened at that larger scale. In philosophy, there's this idea of a hyper-object. It's a concept that's so vast in space and time that it's impossible to fully get a grasp of. What this moment did for us is crystallize our first hyper-object, humanity's understanding of itself. Now, I'm not arguing that what that means is world peace and unity and sugar and crystals. Fuck no. I can't argue that because as we speak, Wikipedia is collating examples of xenophobia and racism that pull from more than 35 countries during this pandemic. That's not it, obviously, because with humanity, bad news seems to come in truckloads. In the US, they did this survey where they asked thousands of Americans over the last few days what their feelings were towards each other since the pandemic. And what they found is yes, more people were feeling a sense of unity towards each other. But at the same time, when it came to accepting inequalities present in each other's lives due to a lack of luck, more people were also more accepting of that, which I know sounds like a good thing. But what it actually means is that when there was a poor person present in front of you, who's poor because they were born into it, you're more likely to say, that's okay, that's their problem. So humanity continues to remain a bit of a paradox. We are feeling more of a sense of unity in this time, but we're also still kind of behaving like So then when it comes to answering this question that every home philosopher, including my mother on her WhatsApp group, has been asking, which is this question of what do you take away from this moment? What there is the answer? I think the answer is, please, mum, nothing. See, memory researchers who've spent years studying events exactly like this one argue that with the pandemic, most of us are just going to look back at this time as one long blur. That's because staying at home every single day is a stretched out exercise and it isn't conducive to creating sharp, defined memories. So the way they say that we should think of memory is less as an individual's property and more as a collective one. It's something we're sharing both with the people we're living this moment with, but also with the people we're going to be telling these stories to in the future. They asked this one World War II vet what it was that he remembered since the time, and wait, I wrote this down. He said, I think what I recall are the events that did not happen to me exclusively, but that had an impact on a group of people. There was a sense that we were all a part of this together. So we're going to carry forward this collective memory of us for years to come, which is a very good thing because see, disaster specialists and economists have been warning us for years now that what lies ahead is a future filled with only more mounting random events exactly like this.
The system delivers such events with regularity.
With climate change, we already know that so many of those events are right around the corner. For now, what we're leaving with is a deeper understanding than humanity has ever had the ability to have of what's at stake, of what it feels like to be us. Whether or not we can use that to build systems that carry this more complex understanding of the paradox that it is to be us. Systems that not just survive, but maybe even thrive in this mayhem. That, of course, is going to be our big question. If we do pull it off, though, that would actually be unprecedented.
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 Unprecedented.